let's jump right in. We try to get these things started right at 12 o'clock. First and foremost, as a point of clarification or just a note, we will be changing the date and time of these webinars to Tuesday at 10 a.m. Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's when we're going to be doing those webinars from now on. Hopefully a better day during the week where you can jump on for a half hour, listen into our webinar presentations, and get moving from there. So good to be with you guys, both on our website and here on our live feed inside of our group. So today we want to talk about creating lookalike audiences, what that looks like, how it works, what are the best ways to do that, and why in the world we would ever create a lookalike audience when it comes to putting together a solid Facebook ad set. We've done a lot of research in this space, and before we do that, I just want to walk you through really quick, and then I'll have Mitch share with us some insights, and we'll have some dialogue around this, but I just want to share with you how you actually get in to look to see whether or not there's even any context behind this. Now, first, also realize that lookalike audiences, all of this stuff we're talking about correlates directly with whether or not you have a Facebook business page. If you just have a personal page and you don't have a Facebook business page, some of this information won't apply to you. We're going to keep it simple today. So let's dive right in. Let me show you on camera exactly how we do this. So if you are in your personal account, you have a business page, you just go here to click the drop-down menu on the right, and you go down to Manage Ads. If this is your own business account, you can just go directly through managing ads this way. If you're managing for other people, most likely you understand that there's a business.facebook.com account that can create value. So I'm just going to go into our ad account and pull it up. So this is what our ad account looks like. If you go to the drop-down menu up here in the top left, you'll see all tools, and it gives you a whole broad spectrum of different things that you can utilize inside of Facebook advertising. And what we're going to talk about today is audiences, creating a custom audience. And there's three things specifically you can utilize to create a custom audience. The first one is your email list. Well, there's quite a few, but in context, one is creating your audience by utilizing an existing email list of customers that are already in your business. So if you're not collecting that data right now, then it's a really good time to start. The second would be website traffic based on a pixel that you've placed on your website. And the third is people that have purchased. So maybe you have an email list of people, and then you also have a purchased list, people that have bought a product or a service from you. And as part of those audiences, what we're going to show you today, I'm going to have Mitch walk you through how to create a lookalike audience based on each one of those three metrics. So Mitch, I'm going to turn the screen share over to you, and let's get moving and shaking.
All right. Let me pull this up real quick.
For those of you that are joining us as well while Mitch is doing that, you're more than welcome to ask any questions if you'd like while you're inside of the or while we're talking about these things. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Okay. Go ahead, Mitch.
Okay, so let's start with an email list. So the way you're going to do that is you're first going to have to upload your email list. And this can be your email list that you just collected over the years from your business. It can be from your customers. It can be however. So the first step you need to do is create that audience. I'll do this pretty quick just because we've done this before. But you're going to go to Customer File and then choose a file or copy and paste data. And then it gives you all of these options that you can input. So it's not only an email list. We traditionally talk about it as an email list, but if you have phone numbers, so let's say it's a doctor's office and they have phone numbers so that they can call and remind their patients. They can input their phone numbers. So you're just going to add a new file, a CSV file is the easiest way. Drop it in here. And then the next step, it's just going to prompt you to match the columns. So in your CSV file, then your first column might be email, your second column might be name, your third column might be phone number. So you'll just go through it super easy. You just match it up. That's how you create the email list audience first. Now to create the lookalike audience, again, we're going to be back here, create audience, lookalike audience. And then you're going to choose a source. So you just uploaded your email list, and so it'll be one of these options here. And so let's find one of our email lists that we've uploaded for somebody, and find that. Okay, so this one, North Star customer list. This is an email list from somebody, and then you can pick your country, pick your locations. So in our case, it's pretty much always going to be United States. Some of you might want to do a different one, and then you're gonna select this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. So what these different things mean is that 1 is the most closely related people to your email list. And so that's probably usually what you're going to want to be. And you'll see that the estimated audience size of this is going to end up being 2.1 million. And so it's going to start with whatever size list you have. And it's going to expand that to 2.1 million people that are the most closely related to your current customers or to your current email list.
Mitch, let's take a step back. So how do they determine that? Give us some more insights on how that's actually determined.
How this is determined? How closely related?
Yeah, when you're talking about, so why in the world would, let's say I have a customer list of 65,000 people, and it's creating an audience size between 0 and 1 that gives you the results of about 1%, 1 to 10% of the population. As we can read here, audience size ranges from 1 to 10% of the total population of the countries you choose, within 1 being the most closely related to your match. Why would we create a lookalike audience based on an email list? Give us some more insights behind that.
Yeah, so your email list, they've obviously expressed some amount of interest in your business already, right? They wanted to learn more about you. They wanted to download that lead magnet that you gave to them. There's a reason they're on your email list. And so if you have a lot of them, then you want to find more people just like that. And so Facebook, as we know from the targeting metrics that we can find, then Facebook knows a lot of characteristics about all of us that have a Facebook profile. And so they can use those characteristics. They say, okay, your email list of 65,000 people, most of them have these set of characteristics. They're homeowners, they're mostly female, they're in this age range, and then a whole lot more characteristics. And we'd have to get somebody from Facebook on here to tell us exactly what characteristics they look at. But then they say, okay, let's go find more people just like those 65,000.
So click on that show advanced options, and let's just dive into that a little bit.
So show advanced options is you can make it create three audiences at the same time. And so what that's going to look like is this lookalike US 1%. That's going to be the most closely related. And then 1 to 2%, these people are still going to be, pretty closely related to your customers, but not as closely related because it's going out to a farther reach. And then this 2 to 5% even farther. I've heard a lot of people say to never go past 3. And so how you want to start this is start with 1. And then if you run out of that audience, if you find that you've sold all of them, or not all of them, but you've sold a lot of them, then you say, okay, let's expand another audience out to 2 and use that audience. And as long as you're still profitable on your ads, then you can run out to 3. Right. I've heard to never go past 3 though, because then if you got to 10, I mean, you're going to end up having almost the entire United States.
Sure. Okay, great.
So then you just hit, we're just going to drop this back down to 1 audience, and then you'd hit that create audience, and it goes ahead and it does its thing, and it takes a little while sometimes. I want to say like 30 minutes to an hour. And so then you'll just come back later and use that audience. So that's the email list. One thing that I will mention on the email list is you probably have different categories of your email list. You know, like even in our business, then we have a lot of people on our email list that have just gotten on for some reason or another. They wanted a free download, or they wanted to come into a free webinar, or they come to our Friday calls. And then we have another set of email lists that's our clients and our have bought a course from us. And so the ideal way to use an email list is if you can use just your customers. That's the ideal way. But if you don't have that many customers, then you can start with just your whole email list. Any questions on that one, on email list?
Nope, that's great.
Okay, so website traffic. So again, website traffic, you're going to want to, just like I said with the email list, you're going to want to make sure you pick your most high intensity website traffic, because you may get a lot of website traffic, but you know, some of them, they just come to your website and they're gone in 5 seconds. Those people probably aren't too meaningful. And so if you can segment that based on the people that are on your website longer. And let's talk about that real quick. I haven't done this part for a while. So people who, let's do a custom combination. Well, we'll do it based on specific web pages. So there's going to be different web pages. Maybe there's your blog, and then there's your order confirmation page on your website.
Why don't you go through each one of those, Mitch? Because see, when you're building a custom combination, go through each one of the website traffic elements so you can pull data from actual website traffic in general, like an overall pixel, correct?
Yep. So this is just anyone who visits your entire website. Now, this is a good place to start. This is, if you don't have a ton of website traffic, this is where you want to start. Just choose your website domain. There's probably only going to be one there for most people. And that's just going to be all of your website traffic. And then do in the past, 180 days, basically 6 months. People have visited your website in the last 6 months. But if you have more website traffic and you want to get a little bit more specific, then you want to go to people who visit specific web pages. So this is where you might want to put URL contains order confirmation if you have e-commerce on your site, and people do that. Or another one is if you have a schedule a time page. So those are the types of people that they were really close to scheduling a time to meet with you or to talk with you, but maybe they didn't all quite make that last step, but they're still more intense. They're still they're higher up the funnel, or a more warm person than if they just came to your blog page.
So a question might be, Mitch, here. Okay, so how do they even know? How do they know who's coming to what pages and how they're being tracked and things of the nature? How do you know who came to the website? I mean, tell us a little bit about how that works.
So as far as this is concerned, then the Facebook pixel knows all that. And you don't really have to know what specific people came to each website. You just have to know, on my order confirmation page, those are going to be my customers. And so I want to make a lookalike audience, or I want to make an audience of my customers. And so then the Facebook pixel, which is just a piece of code, knows which website page people were on. Mm-hmm. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, and maybe even drop that education back a little bit more, or scale that back even more. What is a pixel, and how does a pixel even work?
So the pixel is just a piece of code. And the cool thing is that I don't understand HTML coding. Ryan doesn't understand HTML coding. 95% of people that use the Facebook pixel code, they don't have to understand HTML coding. You just have to understand it's a piece of code that you put on your website, and then it grabs traffic. And so when Susie comes to your website, and Susie has a Facebook profile, and Susie is logged into Facebook on that same computer, on that same phone, then Facebook learns, oh, Susie visited this person's website, so I'm going to put Susie into this audience. And then it says Susie visited the schedule a time page on this website. That can be a separate audience.
Great. Okay.
And then you can get more specific people visiting specific web pages, but not others. So that'd be people that visited the schedule a time, but they didn't visit the schedule a time confirmation, as an example. And then people who haven't visited in a certain amount of time. So include people who have visited your website in the last 180 days, but haven't been back in the last 30 days. So this would be used if you just want to get people back to your website to read your blog again. You know, maybe you publish a blog every week, and there's going to be a certain amount of people that they read your blog at least once, but then maybe they just didn't see your blog pop up again. And so you want to say, oh, I need to get back in front of those people.
Sure.
So those are the different categories of a website traffic that you can create. So let's use the order confirmation as an example, because these are going to be your customers from your website. So you'd create this audience, and this, where I'm typing order confirmation, that's what you would pull from your actual website URL. So you'd pull it from up in the address bar up here on your website. So you create that audience. And then again, just like with the email list, then you're going to go to lookalike audience, and you're just going to pick that as a source. So it's going to be a different source, that order confirmation page website traffic, and you create it that way. And everything the same applies, the 1 to 10%, and everything that we already talked about applies the same, picking the countries.
Great insights, Mitch. So let's just talk through a couple of scenarios just to give us some better ideas of how someone might use this data. So I'm new to Facebook. I barely started my Facebook business page. I'm trying to direct traffic. I know that I need to get people to see, like, and engage on my content. One thing that we talk about quite heavily inside of our company is we talk about how to take engagements on social media and turn those engagements into revenue versus just engagements in general. So that being said, what I might suggest is, how can we use this? Like, what is the purpose? I know we did kind of a deep dive into each individual element of it, but why would we use this, and how does it relate to a business that's just getting started, for instance, or a business that's kind of doesn't have an email list, doesn't have any sort of website traffic yet? Why would we create this on the front end?
So maybe we could use two examples. The first example, a brand new business. They don't have any website traffic. The reason to start this now is because, let's say 6 months down the line, you do have website traffic. And so if you don't get started now by placing your pixel on your website and starting to create those customer audiences and starting to capture emails, then if you don't start now, then 6 months down the line, you're not going to have those email lists. You're not going to have that website traffic captured. And so that's the best way for a brand new business to get started, is to make sure to have these things in place and capture the information of their customers as much as possible. And then a second example that I would talk about of maybe a more established business, if anybody watched the replay from last week where we went through Kendall's audience, then Kendall is already retargeting existing website traffic to get purchases, and it's working really well. He's turning an over 10 times return on investment, which is fantastic. But his current website traffic is going to run out. And so the next step in his case is, once he gets to 300, 400, 500 purchases, then he can make a lookalike audience so that he can reach completely new people with his product with his product. And that's where it really comes into play. And again, with that example we looked at of making the lookalike of Kendall set up his lookalike audience today. Good job. So North Star customer list. Then, we don't want to advertise to North Star's current customers. We are working on helping them get new customers. But in their case, they're an established business. They have a lot of customers. And so we're going to be able to find more people just like those customers. So they're just more likely to become customers. So those are two ways to use those.
Yeah, one thing as well, if you're a traditional business owner, an online business owner, in the past there's been a lot of different ways of reaching an audience. For instance, billboards, radio ads, and what's interesting about that is it's more of just kind of your initial approach of, okay, who really is paying attention, who's actually seeing our billboards. We can tell by when they walk in. We ask them where they found us, so on and so forth. The same thing happens with social media. Is we can find, identify, and target different people on social media to see whether or not we can convert them from a cold market person to a warm, to a hot market, to a purchaser. Well, once we have a book of business, if you will, just like in traditional space, once you have a book of people who are buying products and services from you, referral business in general is one of the most powerful ways to connect with that additional audience and generate revenue more quickly. So this lookalike audience more or less creates an online referral strategy to get in front of other people who have the same tendencies as these initial audiences that have been created. And that's why they create a lookalike audience with people who have the same tendencies, because then we can assume, and we test it, of course, but we can assume that some of those people who have the same tendencies that are pulled directly from the lookalike audiences that are created are more likely to buy our products and services. Now, what does that do as a company? Well, that decreases the amount of, in some cases, it'll decrease the cost per conversion. It'll decrease the cost to acquire a new customer, because now you've already found out what that target demographic looks like. You already have a good idea of what type of ad copy works in front of them, what type of images are working well. And as a result, now you have a more or less an interested audience of people that are potentially buying your products and services that you found based on creating your initial customer list, customer audience on social. Now, that's one of the reasons, obviously, why all of this is so important, is the sheer fact that we're in the game of generating revenue for our business and for other people. And the more effectively we can create that audience and help people see and experience success, the more likely they are to continue to spend dollars in those places they're seeing a return on their investment. I mean, I think we could ask Kendall, I know Kendall, you're on with us, doing an analysis and seeing the value proposition of ads and what they're looking for. Would it be fair to say that you'll continue spending money based on that ROI that you guys identified last week? I don't know if we lost Kendall. Yeah, absolutely. So great. Well, listen, guys, thank you. Anything else, Mitch, you want to add, or any questions you guys have?
Yeah, just if there's any questions.
Okay. Well, listen, you're welcome to did a $75,000 roof bid on a $30 Facebook lead. That's incredibly powerful. Great work, Kendall. Love to hear that success and your success stories. Did you do did you implement some of the things that we had shared with you last week, or is this stuff that you've been creating on your own as far as that Facebook lead is concerned? Just want to make sure this stuff there's some value behind what we're teaching. Different campaign. Cool. Great. Well, listen, guys, thank you for being on with us today. We're glad that you were here. Again, we're going to be switching this till Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time. We'd love to have you come join us. Friday seems like everybody's checking out and trying to be done for the day, or done for the week. So we'll catch back up and hope you guys have a great time, or a great weekend. Take care.